Hello, and welcome to our City of Bell Roundtable series. My name is Daniel, and I am with Leeaf. We're so happy to be partnering with City of Bell for the first of hopefully many Roundtable series. We're going to get into it with a special guest that we have here, who is no stranger to Leeaf, but also no stranger to a lot of small businesses here in LA County. But first off, we just want to give a huge thanks again to City of Bell for partnering with us, for giving us this opportunity to talk with a lot of business leaders in the area, business owners here in the City of Bell. These roundtable series are meant for you, for resources that you can use to hopefully build your business. If you are also not familiar with Leaf, welcome. We are an organization, nonprofit organization here at LA County. Our mission has always been to build equity one entrepreneur at a time. We understand as business leaders, business owners, we're wearing multiple hats at the same time. We're either the accountant, we're the chauffeur, we're the delivery driver, but most of all, we're the passionate person driving the force and driving the backbone of LA County. Today we're going to be talking a lot of stuff, but mostly focusing on marketing, which obviously can seem a little bit overwhelming. Hopefully you're watching this on your phone, online, which is a platform that all of us are always trying to manage. So we're definitely going to get into it. But before we go, today's series we're going to be focusing on, it's titled Getting Seen and Getting Chosen. So focusing more on marketing, including visibility challenges, digital tools, and customer loyalty building, which is a lot, everything right now, especially living in the connected world. There are a lot of stuff out there. We have TikTok, we have Instagram, we have WhatsApp, we have YouTube Reels now. So the main question always comes like, how do I get my business out there, and how do I do it effectively so people are paying attention? Thankfully we do live in a connected world where we can have a lot of tools at our disposal, but it's like, how do we use it effectively? So before we get to that, I definitely want to introduce a speaker who knows a lot about that, and introduce and hopefully teach me a little bit more about that. I want to introduce Francine. Francine is a business coach, a marketing strategist, and a facilitator for small business programs across Los Angeles. She also was on top of the many titles, she was one of our trainers here for the EMI program that we recently had. So if you have been with the Leaf program, you are probably not seeing Francine for the first time. But Francine, how are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. So grateful to be here and talking with all of you. Such a big fan of small businesses and building the small business ecosystem here in LA. And I wanted to just share a couple statistics, is that about 60% of the workforce in America is employed by small businesses, which is a huge amount. And of that, I believe it's somewhere between 60 to 70% of those small businesses are run by 1 to 2 people. So you mentioned wearing multiple hats, and entrepreneurs really do wear multiple hats. So hats off to all of you for all the work you're doing and all the roles that you play. And hopefully today we can give you some additional tools for your marketing toolbox.
Perfect. Well, and then again, it's excited to jump into that, but would you mind just give us a little bit more? I know I've also seen, I've explained the many hats that you wear, but can you tell us a little bit more besides just a little mini intro? I know there's a lot more that you do.
Yeah, I'll keep it as short as possible, but I've been in business for 25 years. I started young. Honestly, I think being from a big Dominican family, you kind of learn these business principles, negotiation very early. But I have journeyed from entertainment, working with an NBA all-star player, working with celebrities in New York City and media, public relations, to event production with corporate brands, merging with those celebrities and getting things out into the mainstream, to hospitality and really diving into marketing and branding of an actual location and what it means to get people to places. And then I went into consulting, and I've been a consultant since 2010 on my own, so 16 years. And I've worked with a wide variety of small businesses, and I really started honing in on my niche of small business, woman-owned, social impact businesses, businesses in areas that I believe in and that really support improving the conditions of our lives and the world. So it's been a wide range, and I'm really grateful because I've gotten to work in a variety of industries, and only to find out that there's so many skills and techniques that apply across all of them. So even if you switch from one industry to another, you're not going to lose these skills and what you've learned, but also understanding that each industry and niche has its own targeted customers and practices to continue honing in on. So that's as brief as I can be about it.
I mean, you do it all, and I think that's also something that a lot of small business leaders can relate to, where it's like, you do have to, there's a long journey. You didn't just wake up and like, here I am doing this stuff. You do take a lot of stuff from one journey to the next, and how do you connect all of them. So I think that's a lot of
Absolutely.
stuff as a small business owner. You get to that point right now with all the lessons that you've learned in the past. And now you're here. So.
Yeah, and I love reminding entrepreneurs that these are transferable skills, to learn operations, to learn marketing, to learn finance. Starting an entrepreneurial journey is essentially getting your MBA in real time, right? The school of hard knocks, but you're in it and learning it. And once you do that, you can apply it to any business and anywhere in the world. Anywhere in the world has space for small businesses. Any business anywhere in the world needs marketing, needs operation, needs finance, and really needs community building. One of my philosophies that's developed over time is that to build a small business is to build community, because that's how you're going to sustain yourself and your business. So we'll dive a little bit more into that today.
Yeah, it's perfect segue. Like I said, so that said, I'm sure you guys, I can attest that you guys are in good hands with Leeaf, City of Bell, with Francine. All right, well, are you ready? Let's dive into it.
Yeah.
So first off, let's go into getting seen, visibility. So for many small businesses, getting seen is, foot traffic coming in, getting signage, getting my face out there. Today, what are the first things a business should check when evaluating their businesses? And even going a little further, what is something that business owners feel like they're doing but they're still not being noticed? Where should they focus first to cut through all of that?
Yeah, so something I like to educate small businesses is that marketing, I like to think of it as emotional intelligence, right? Because emotional intelligence is, I know how I feel, but also I can understand how you feel, which you need that empathy to understand what are my clients' problems, what are their needs right now, their desires, which is super key. I find that sometimes we overlook that and we're just focused on how do I get my product out, but your customer is thinking about how is this product gonna help me? So really understanding that. And then additionally, the third layer of emotional intelligence is I can understand how I impact you, how you impact me. So really understanding, okay, how is my product gonna solve their problem, their desire, their need? And additionally, are they able to understand what I'm marketing, right? So in 10 seconds or less, from your website, even from your storefront, can a customer understand what am I going to get from here? What is this business offering me? So offering that empathy, that clarity, and then consistency, right? So repetition. Is it clear how they buy from you? Is it clear when you're open, when you're not open? Is it clear how they can ask questions? Is it clear how your product or service works, right? So finding ways to continuously repeat that over and over, right? So that's just a baseline I wanted to put out there. That's something that after 25 years, I really realized, oh, okay, marketing is really to understand emotional intelligence. So in terms of visibility, what we want to be thinking about is similar. When somebody gets to my website, and since we're talking about City of Bell, when I was driving here, I was admiring all the beautiful storefronts, so many great little plazas and walkable streets. But even as customers, because we forget, we think everything's digital, but sometimes you have digital in addition to a brick and mortar. So when somebody's driving by, when somebody's walking by, when somebody gets to my website from their phone, their tablet, or their laptop, do they instantly know what I offer, right? So in the Leaf program, we spend a lot of time looking at on your website above the fold, right? When they come to my website, they see my logo, sure they see this visual, but do they understand immediately, 10 seconds or less, what do I offer and what am I offering to them? So visibility is really about kind of a quick connection. So think about the digital version of an elevator pitch is like 10 seconds or less, right? Usually elevator pitch, we're thinking 30 to 60 seconds verbally. Digitally, it's about 10 seconds. And storefront wise, same thing. Do I have a sandwich board out front? Do I have a proper sticker in the window so that even when I'm closed, people know what I'm offering to them and what they can get here? So visibility, we want to be thinking about that. How am I letting them know without thinking, oh, well, they'll just come inside and ask. And honestly, they won't. Everyone is just so overwhelmed with options, with dings, rings, pings, all the things, right? So do not assume that they're gonna just know, oh, they'll come in and ask if they're not sure. Folks are looking for, we wanna make it easy. So when you're thinking about visibility, how do I make it easier for them to know exactly what I do?
Perfect. And that's also kind of stuff, at least, I think it kind of says a little bit about where we are as a society. I think it's like that cash grab. And I blame TikTok, but don't come after me, TikTokers. But it's, I think, we have our time attention span is short now, where it's like, if it doesn't, if you're going to send me an essay, I probably will not read it and see what you're doing. But if you send me something like, here is a smoothie that I'm selling, what it is, how much it costs, perfect, that's what I want to do.
Yeah. And to your second question of if they're not getting noticed, then I would think very practically. Are my hours very clear? When am I open? When are services offered? Again, is my offering very clear? Exactly what I offer. Even if you offer a variety of things, then drill it down to the top 2 or 3 things that are going to get them in there, get them to click through your website, right? So getting a little bit more specific. Do you have visuals, right? Because of TikTok, because of Instagram, these are not billion-dollar companies for no reason. It's because we've moved back into like a visual state of learning. Some people still read, again, knowing who your audience matters, but the majority of folks, including the older generations, are on one of these social platforms that push a lot more photo and video content. So do you have good photos? Do you have good videos of what you're offering? These are different things to think about instead of, I find that we as entrepreneurs, when we're not getting the traction, we think it's like some big problem. And usually it's good to start with like the most practical, simplest thing.
Perfect. Well, with that, I made a good transition because that goes into getting chosen. You were talking about, we live in an era now where it's like there's so many choices out there. I have a shop outside, but if I go on my phone, I have 5 other shops. So how does a customer choose me? So going with, how do I choose that perfect photo? So many owners, many owners, they don't have time. They're not that corporate, they're not at that stage yet, but how many owners don't have time for full marketing strategies? Are there any simple tools that can help a small business look polished and professional without needing a full team?
Yeah, I think back to that emotional intelligence, understanding what customers go through. So we talked about this in Leeaf, the customer journey. So this is something that psychologically every customer is going to go through when they are going to make a purchase, right? So first they're identifying what is my problem, my need, my desire, right? And so I'm going to say this to you from the customer standpoint. So you start putting yourself in your customer's shoes. So what is my customer's problem, need, or desire? Once they realize they have a problem, need, or desire, now they're going to go to step 2, which is they're going to start digging around, usually asking friends and family, which is why third-party peer reviews carry so much weight. So one thing I would definitely say is, do you have testimonials? Do you have reviews, right? If you haven't secured your business on your Google Maps, Apple Maps, on Yelp, you definitely want to do that. And Google also has the option that even if you are a home-based location and you don't want to list your address, you can now keep it private and indicate what areas you serve. So that's a huge help since a lot of small businesses are based out of home. But you want to make sure that you've got reviews and testimonials posted. So that's something that when you make a sale, and I know I have my notes here because I can talk a lot. So I want to make sure to keep it distilled, but I think later we'll talk a little bit more about how do we keep in touch. And that's something that we tend to forget very easily. Okay, great, I got them through the site, I made a sale, but then what, right? It's going to be much easier to make another sale to a repeat customer or get a referral from a customer who is already satisfied. So staying in touch is going to be a super easy kind of big way, low entry, big impact way to keep retaining customers and get referrals. So testimonials for sure are a great way to keep people coming in along with those photos because it's direct experience, right? Ads are good, they serve, but we know you can almost say anything online now, right? So people don't always know if they can trust it, but when they see a review with stars, when they see satisfied customers, especially if it's someone that they know, they're gonna trust in that more. So they start doing their digging, they get their kind of recommendations, then they go to step 3, which is now they're comparing and contrasting, right? So, okay, what does this business offer? What does this one offer? Based on what I need, are there additional perks? And they're kind of making their pros and cons list, right? Once they've gone through their pros and cons, now they're identifying and saying, okay, this is the business that's going to help me the most, that has exactly what I need. And now they're going to make some sort of contact, right? They're either going to go to your website, they're going to call, or they're going to just jump in and make a purchase. Then after they make the purchase, they're now in their review phase. So are they gonna write a review? Are you encouraging them? Are they gonna make a post online of like, oh my God, I just tried this product for the first time? So understanding the customer journey and the psychology behind that is going to help you understand, okay, what step are they in? Because now as you're creating content, as you're putting newsletters out there, you can start to create content that fits into each one of those buckets, right? Like what stage are they in? And you're not going to always know what stage they're in, but as long as your content is hitting each of those steps, you're gonna meet them where they are, one way or another.
Yeah, no, and then you did touch on the bike, so we'll get to that one, because now it's like, okay, we got the customer in the door, how do we keep them? Which we'll get to that one,
Yeah.
but I did wanna go up on another thing where sometimes it does seem a little overwhelming, where it's like, you have your Yelp, you have your Google review, you have Facebook, you have Instagram, all things that I use, but they are overwhelming. As a business owner, how should they decide what platform is actually worth their time? I guess, is it all of them, some of them, should they focus on one?
So definitely, I think 97% of customers read reviews. So you want to be somewhere that there's reviews being listed. So Google Maps is a simple, easy one that you just want to, again, grab your listing on there and start to collect reviews, make sure you have photos, make sure your hours are correct, make sure your website's on there, and begin to accumulate it. You can, Apple Maps, I think it's like 72% of those review readers, read them from Google. So if right now it's like, hey, let's go get pizza, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna open up Google Maps or Apple Maps and say, well, let's see what's nearby. And then you're gonna look and compare reviews based on there. So Google Maps is definitely one you want, or something of the like, Apple Maps, Yelp, etc. As far as social media, you want, that one's heavily based on who your audience is, right? We know Gen Z, Gen Alpha, millennials are strongly on TikTok, right? Now we see that the millennial, kind of Xennial age is heavily on Threads. Whereas baby boomers kind of started taking Threads as low-key the bomb. Boomers like kind of took over Facebook, which is why the younger gen was like, we're getting off of there, it's sus, right? And then Instagram tends to be millennials, Gen Z, and a mix of the other two as well. So, people think, I need to be on all of them. First of all, I would definitely recommend secure your page on all of them, right? Because you never know, if you're gonna be in business for 20, 30 years, then your audience is gonna be changing, your platforms are gonna be changing. So it's good to just park your page and have them all secured across all the social media. But which one you spend time on should be greatly based on who is your audience and where are they. So that's where you need to do a little bit of research to understand, okay, who is my customer, their demographics, their sociographics, all that kind of stuff. And then understand, okay, if they're primarily in this age range, then maybe I want to focus on Instagram. Also pair that with what kind of content do you want to make, right? If you're like, I want nothing to do with videos, then TikTok, maybe Instagram is not going to be your platform. But perhaps you're a prolific writer, and so you want to have a blog, you want to have a Substack, right? And if your audience, right, think of it like a Venn diagram. Here's my audience. Here's where they like to get their information and what sites they like to frequent. And here's what I like to do into creating content. Is it videos? Is it writing? Is it photos? And finding the platform that is both where your client is and what is it, the kind of content you like to create.
Perfect. And then actually, I do like park your page, you have it. The other thing I would like to add, answer your phone. Put the right phone number there.
Yes.
No,
actually, and I included some statistics. 60% of people, of those review readers, right, which we know over 97% of people read reviews, 60% avoid a business if when they go, they find incorrect information. Yeah. There's not a website, there's no phone number to call, they just skip over. And again, it's not to be fear-based, but markets are saturated. There's a lot of options, which is great because there's a lot of small businesses, right? But you want to make sure that you're clear and you stand out. And I cannot overemphasize how much simplicity is so key, because just having the basics is going to beat 1,000 posts any day, right? People think, oh, I need to make all these posts, but did you get your basics right, right? Like, are your links working? Are your numbers correct and updated? Do they have a way to ask you questions via email, via phone, via text, response? So definitely get the basics down.
Yes. Well, then going down to that part, okay, we get the customer, they came, awesome, how do we keep them? So, what do you think turns a first visit into like a lasting relationship that I want to keep coming back?
Yeah, so building a relationship, thinking about it in that way. Again, back to building a small business is about building community. So not treating it transactional, right? Because personal is always going to beat promotion. So when you're writing your emails, when you're making your posts, how can you make it more personal? Which, as entrepreneurs, I feel like we vacillate with of how much of my journey do I need to share. But the truth is people want to know, right? We started this by hearing a little bit about my journey. Why? Because it validates and gives some credibility of like, well, why is she speaking to us? Why are they going to want to buy from you, right? They want to hear about your come from, they want to know your expertise, and also they want to know what inspires you. A lot of times when they're in that step of comparing businesses, they'll start to look at the personal. Oh wow, this is somebody whose story is similar to mine, I'm gonna support them. Oh wow, this is somebody who's in my neighborhood versus ordering from across the country, so let me buy local. So getting as personal as possible is gonna always create a connection. Then staying in touch, right? Not only going and communicating when you're selling something, like buy this. You've gotta give them something else in between, right? Add value to their lives without feeling like you need to always be getting something. Building community is really about that, right? It's not just about, well, tit for tat, I'm gonna give you this. I'm a big proponent of local buy nothing groups. And part of why I like it is because if you're not on it, find your local buy nothing group on Facebook with your zip code. It's hyper localized giving and receiving. And it's not barter, it's not trade, it's just meant to purely, unconditionally, I have this to offer, who wants it, or I need this, who's able to give it to me. And I just love that because it's really instilling in us that that's really what community is. It's about giving and receiving unconditionally. So think about how you can tie that into being personal, but also creating connection along the way that is not only just about selling. And the selling comes from that. Once they feel connected with you and they can trust you, it's much easier to make a sale. There's no forcing or even convincing. They're really just wanting to support their community.
I like that. Another strategy we've also heard has also been, just having that I guess that loyalty for the customer. I think I've also been kind of barter, like, I'm gonna go here, but if I go to this place, I'm gonna get my favorite burrito, so I'm gonna go over there.
Yeah.
But again, we're starting out. Maybe we can't afford. Like, hey, we'll be giving you free items for this. But what is one low cost loyalty strategy that folks can implement that can hopefully even build that loyalty with them?
Yeah, I mean, the loyalty card is tried and true. It's when somebody is thinking about, oh, I can go to 2 burger places. If they know they got a card and they're gonna get a stamp, they're gonna tend to go there. I don't know the exact statistics, but think about what you do, right? I know I do. I'm like, oh, I could go here, but I've got this. So it's just a way to kind of create and people feel like, okay, cool, I get something for being a loyal customer and supporting. I think that another thing I always recommend to people, even before social media, if you've been in my classes, I will beat you over the head. I won't beat you, I'm kidding. But I will say over and over again to build your email marketing list. Before social media, park your pages, but before you even get into any social media strategy, build your email marketing. Why? Because you own that list. You do not own your contacts on social media, which is why when they shut down TikTok, people were freaking out because they had millions of followers and no contact information. And should that platform had permanently gone away, people would have lost all of those followers, right? But with your email list, now you have direct contact with them. And I like to think about your email database as your stadium, right? It's your auditorium. Like, you have now filled it with your people and you get to speak to them directly. You walk in, you turn on the mic, and you decide what the message is. Not, based on what the platform wants to show them, etc. So building loyalty, I think, also comes through that, through the personalization, through the connection. And think about, again, how you can add value. Sometimes, obviously, doing promotions, doing discounts, doing loyalty cards, I think are ways that have been done for a long time. but sometimes people don't want to be giving out promotions and discounts. So what can you add, right? Like, and I know we'll talk about like partnerships and stuff as we talk about collaboration. But maybe you want to partner with somebody, like, hey, if you come here, you get this in addition to, or maybe you have your own complimentary product. If you buy this, then I'm going to offer this. And it's a low cost way for you to add value to what they're getting.
Perfect. And then personal question for you, what has made you, the marketing guru, come to a business again and again?
Honestly, it's a combination of all these things, right? Like, but definitely the people, I'm always gonna look for small versus big, so that's, I think a leg up. Again, being in marketing, I'm a sucker for good marketing, when I can see that somebody's put the time and energy into the photos, into, beauty does well. When things look good and they feel good, it attracts people, and I'm a total sucker for that. Yeah, I tend to support women-owned, Black and brown-owned businesses, small businesses as best as I can, and first and foremost.
Perfect. Well, then if you are interested in being certified with the LA County, let us know at Leeaf. We can help you with that.
Yeah.
Well, with the last question, it's kind of to tie it all together as far as, one, being seen, getting chosen, and keeping them. You're talking about partnerships, which I think it's a lot of stuff that we always see not in subconscious. There's a lot of partnership with bigger brands, but it's stuff that I feel that also, with small businesses, we kind of forget that we are the community. We are bringing that up, and there have been smaller partnerships that sometimes get overseen.
Yeah.
So partnerships can be powerful. What are some creative ways that businesses can collaborate to increase that visibility, their retention, and that community feeling?
Yeah, absolutely. At Leaf, I saw this a lot, as we would be, in classes with 60, 70 people, and it's like, oh, you two companies should be talking to each other, right? So on a storefront, right, if you're in a strip of stores, you could easily do something where it's like, hey, bring your receipt to the coffee shop next door and you get a discount, and vice versa. So just collaborating with neighbors of, hey, let's encourage each other, right? Because think about it. Now you're thinking about, I learned this in real estate development when I was working as a developer in Miami, that your goal becomes as a collective to get people to that destination, right? To get them to walk that strip, because now they'll go into multiple stores. Sure, they might go for one, but then they see another, and again, if your signage looks good and brings people in, then they're gonna say, oh, let me stop by that store. So now you can support each other by saying, hey, if my customer comes in and buys something, can they show a receipt for a discount of your coffee? And vice versa, if they come and buy a coffee, can they get a discount on their haircut at the barber shop, at the nail salon? So think of how can I locally and organically nearby collaborate. Also think about complementary, right? Who shares the same customer as you, but is not your competition? And can we create a pipeline? I had done, this was like a bundle swap, right? So coffee and pastry, two different shops, but can we help each other out? Barber and photography, right? So barbers want to take pictures of their customers, photographers need pictures to take. Now they can help promote each other, right? On the barber or salon site, they can say these photos were shot by this photographer, contact them, here's a link to their site, vice versa, right? So think about collaborations, like we were talking about here with the City of Bell, they're hosting a market. So how can you make a marketplace, right? Is it a block party in your area? If you are friends with digital businesses, but you're all in Los Angeles, is there a parking lot you guys can come to and set up, pop-up tents and create your own marketplace, which of course involves a little bit more, there's some permitting, but think about things like that. How can I worked on a festival here in Los Angeles that was born of that, just small businesses needing to drive more business to their stores, that they're like, hey, let's make a block party, and then it grew into a full-on festival with 60 to 70 small vendors, right? So I think just thinking about, again, back to building a small business is building community. How can I not only support myself, but how can I support my fellow small business owner? Because I think we're reaching a point where of like critical mass where we don't have to do everything on our own, right? So we don't have to keep reinventing the wheel. Let me think smarter, not harder. And if these 3 other businesses have the same or similar customers, how can we come together and support one another? And I would also say, even if somebody is in your field, likely you have different niches, you have different specialties. That's what's so beautiful. 2 coffee shops, yeah, both offer coffee, but they each have their own flair, they have their own signature. So I definitely encourage looking at things as collaboration versus competition. And more, what I was mentioning with the real estate was, at one point, restaurants avoided being near each other. They thought it was major competition, let's spread it out. But actually, then developers realized what you do is you create a food destination. So if you have multiple restaurants in a kind of concentrated area, in the mind of the customer, they're like, let's just go to that area because there's gonna be something we want, right? So there's gonna be tacos, there's gonna be this, that. And so now it becomes a destination. So don't look at everything as competition, but rather how can we, what's the rising tides raise all ships? How can we do that on behalf of other small businesses?
No, and I love that. I mean, even right here, I'm looking at Gage, I'm looking at Atlantic. I know there's a lot of businesses here, so I'm sure there are partnerships. So if there are, let us know what partnerships are actively happening. So, Francine, just to close things out, just like a nice takeaway. If a business owner could leave today from today's session, listening today, and implement just one marketing action this month, what would you recommend?
I would say to get your digital pages set up, like we were talking about, your Google Maps, your searchability, something that makes you searchable with reviews and photos. Just as a basic kind of get that done, make sure it's done. It's basic, but it's something that's overlooked. Then I would make sure that you have at least a simple 1-page website landing page. Even with something like Google Sites, they switched it over from their business page, and I am not advertising for Google, by the way, I want to make that clear. But for small businesses, it is a resource, right? It's like I did a workshop on AI because I know there's all these concerns with AI, but as a small business teacher, I couldn't not share it with small businesses when big businesses are getting a leg up. It's like, again, because small businesses are run mainly by 1 to 2 people, that is this automation that AI provides can really help a lot of small businesses. So I didn't feel it was right to tell small businesses, no, shame on you. It's like, okay, let me teach you instead how to use it ethically and critically so that you're not hurting the environment as much as possible. You're not hurting your brain as much as possible. I think AI is the new sugar. You're not going to really realize the damage until much later, particularly with your brain. But then how do you use it in a way that is supportive of your business? So Google Sites, but also Wix, Canva, I believe, or is it card.com. You can do simple landing pages, something that gives you a digital presence. Even if you're mainly a storefront, everybody's finding things digitally, right? So making sure that you have that kind of presence there, and something as simple, again, with your keywords so that you're searchable, because the online version of signage, of storefront kind of signage, is SEO. It's being optimized online. So I would say get those kind of things ready, so for both of them, you need good pictures and videos, you need accurate information, and then you need your text, your content that really distills and explains what you do. And if I could just plug, I'm actually doing a short sprint next week, which is just kind of a concentrated session where we're going to focus just on that. We'll share the code on the screen after. And basically we're going to do that. We're going to come together for an hour or 2 and just make sure you've got all your basics set up on your reviews, you've got your photos up, your website, make sure it's all good. And sometimes that's what it is, right? Is the collaboration and co-working, just knowing, okay, I got it done. And if you have that done and you want to work on your 1-page website, you can bring that there as well.
Perfect. Well, Francine, thank you so much. I mean, you've been with us for a while now, and every time you come, you're always giving us some amazing information. I think you already said that, but if someone's listening to this, hey, I want to work more with Francine, where can we find you?
Yes, you can find me at francinemadera.com. FRANCINEMADERA.com. My offerings are there. I have a one-on-one session as well that I made for Leeaf, so that way it's, and particularly for City of Bell, so it's accessible, and we can just spend 45 to 50 minutes together, just kind of distilling, okay, what do you need to do right now? Because I know it's overwhelming. Where do I start? So this is if you want one-on-one time. Otherwise, come to the sprint. We'll work together in a group. We'll go down and just make sure you've got all your basics covered. But yes, I love this. Honestly, personally, I just believe that the dumpster fire that is our country right now can really use a stronger small business ecosystem, right? Like bringing that middle class back is what's going to help level things out. And I think it's on us as entrepreneurs to follow our passion, share our creative expressions, and just level things back out a little bit.
Thank you, Francine.
Yeah.
And then thank you everyone for listening in on this. If you're absolutely interested, we want to thank City of Bell one more time. We will be doing this for the next 2 weeks as well. So we'll be back here at the James George Bell House on Gage, Thursday, February 26th and Thursday, March 3rd. Next week we'll be discussing topics on access to capital, workforce resources, and then March 3rd we'll be talking about permits and building that relationship with City and LA County as well. If you did like this, feel free. We are with Leaf LA. You can look for us online. It's LEEAF. LEEAF.LA. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna get fired. But we have a series of cohorts as well, right? Along with City of Bell, but along with LA County. So we will also be launching some new cohorts specifically focusing on access to capital. We'll be having a lot more roundtables like this as well. So if you're interested with us, we'll have our QR code here if you're interested with Leaf. And then we have the QR code here as well for if you want to enroll for City of Bell as well. And then here's our QR code.
This is the QR code to do the sprint or one-on-one. And thank you for having me. Truly.
Thank you so much.
Such a pleasure.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.